Howdy, y'all. It's that time again. I'm going to share my journal with you guys for the last week. This is March the 11th until March the 17th. So let's see what I got up to. Of course, I'm joined as always by all my little fur babies. There's Naboo. There's Norma Jean. Hello, Norma Jean. And then there's Marina. I don't know where the other ones are. I think Howard's outside. Okay, so the 11th through the 17th. Let's see what I got up to this last week. So, Friday, of course, was Slim's birthday. It was very strange that it snowed that day. Um, it was just crazy that it snowed. So we had a low in the low 50s. I mean, a high in the low 50s and a low in the low 30s. Happy birthday, Slim, with snow on the 11th. What a busy day. The first half I spent wrapping Slim's birthday presents, and the afternoon I was making his birthday cake, and it started snowing around midday, and Slim got to come home early, so that was awesome. He really enjoyed his gifts. He had complained a couple of times, which is very unlike him, about the state of the tools they have to work with when they're dressing hogs at the farm. So I went to Atwood's and I got him two different knife sets, including the sheaths for the knives. And in total, it was five new super sharp blades, including a bone saw and a gut hook. And these will make butchering a lot less work for him. I also got him some practice targets, a new travel coffee cup, some jeans, a DVD set of the Trailer Park Boys, and his favorite candy, which is some old fashioned caramels that I just happened to find. Then we lit all the candles on his cake. He had to help me as there were so many. And I got a video of him blowing out the candles. We agreed it was the best birthday cake we ever tasted. And I was so proud when he wanted a second piece later on because he usually only has one. I could tell with one bite that it wasn't a store bought cake. I think it was the buttermilk that sets it off. All in all, it was a very happy birthday. So Saturday the 12th, it was sunny and cold with a high in the low 50s and a low in the high 20s. The snow has melted everywhere but the deep shade. No major plans today, just chilling at the house, relaxing, and enjoying Slim's birthday weekend. We talked about going out, but decided with the weather and all, we would just as soon stay home with the cats. Surprisingly, we both wanted a piece of birthday cake with our coffee for breakfast. Yeah, we don't usually have sweets like that. Um, I don't usually eat early in the morning at all, and he doesn't eat sweets. It's usually bacon and eggs. But it was so good, we wanted some first thing. I thought it wouldn't be as good as it was when it was freshly made yesterday, but it was actually better the second day. I'm so proud of this cake, it's ridiculous. I can't wait to take some to Virginia and see what she thinks. She's the best cooker, baker that I know, and she tastes things like a cook, like I do, and I value her opinion of my food. And I want to share the yum. I didn't do a lot today. Played some games, watched some movies mostly, did a little housework, and he took a nap later. I made us a steak dinner with loaded baked potatoes. It turned out nice, and we both enjoyed it and didn't have any room left for another slice of his delicious birthday cake. Yes, I was. I'm ridiculously proud of that birthday cake, and it has inspired me to want to cook more homemade baked goods. So I'm working on it. Okay, so Sunday the 13th, it was cold and sunny, high in the low 60s and a low in the low 30s. Got up pretty early for a Sunday and was feeling pretty good. Had a nice coffee morning with Slim and decided to, he decided to take care of a few things around the house. So I decided to go see Virginia and take her some of Slim's birthday cake. Had a nice visit with Virginia. It was Shonda's birthday, so she had Karaya and Brylan. I told KK we should get together and make some jewelry sometime. She was very interested. She's got her other granny next weekend, but we should be able to get together in a couple weeks. Virginia really liked the cake, and we discussed the merits of buttermilk in baked goods. It seems to make things taste richer with an old fashioned homemade flavor, and it really does. It seems to make a big difference in, pound cakes and tea cakes, is what she was saying, like tea cakes, pound cakes, and then that yellow cake, it had it in there, and of course, cornbread. So, yeah, buttermilk's and biscuits. Also, the best biscuits are made with buttermilk. After I got home, Slim and I decided to go out for supper. We went to one of our favorite restaurants, but they were closed. And so we just grabbed some burgers instead. The burgers were huge, and I couldn't even eat half of mine. I saved the rest for later because it was far too much to just throw away. Who can eat a burger that big? Well, Slim did. When we got home, we watched some Trailer Park Boys. It's hilarious. Yeah, I got that for him for his birthday. And I'd never really watched much of it, just a few scenes here and there, never like a whole episode. But yeah, it's super hilarious, and we've been loving it. So Monday, the 14th, it was overcast all day. The sun was just so super cloudy, you couldn't see anything but clouds. We had a high in the high 60s and a low in the mid 40s. There was a possum on the porch this morning eating Willow's food. I tried to scare him off, but like most possums, he just ignored me. I could have kicked him off the porch, but I hate to do that. And I was in my house shoes. I thought about dashing water at it, but it's too cold for that, so I just poked him with the broom straws till he bumbled away. I fed Willow again. Excuse me. I fed Willow again later and put it where I could watch and make sure he got to eat all of his food this time. Yeah, because I'm not out to feed possums. The only reason we kind of let possums stay around is because they eat stuff like snakes and stuff that we don't want around here. So I'm certainly not going to feed them because then they won't do that. I decided to make beef stew today and was chopping and slicing before the sun came up so I could get everything in my slow cooker as early as possible. I probably should have put it on last night, but 12 hours should be enough. I'll just make some hot water cornbread this evening when we are ready to eat. And my hot water cornbread turned out terrible because my grease wasn't hot enough. So it didn't work out like I wanted to at all. I'm still working on these breads, getting them down. I think it's going to take a while. Howard stayed gone most of the day. Even when I took Naboo out for a long walk, he didn't show himself until it was almost dark and starting to sprinkle rain. Naboo did really well outside. He was staying pretty close to me, and when he got too far away, I'd stop and I'd look at him until he noticed, and then he would come back to me and heel for a few more minutes until he was distracted again. I'm sorry I had to bring him in, but he ran down the driveway and didn't come back. So we went in. I had to carry him back inside from down by the gate the whole way because he knew that he kind of knew he'd messed up running off like that, and that now we had to go in. So I'm hoping he realizes he can stay out pretty much until he runs off like that. Then I have to go fetch him back. Tuesday the 15th, rain, high in the high 60s, low in the low 40s. I made bread today and it didn't turn out as well as it did the last time. It's still okay. It's just a little dense. It didn't raise like it should have. Um, I know what I did wrong. I forgot to put the oil in the dough, and I think it was too cold today to make good bread. But I did figure out that if I set my bottom oven at 225 to 250, then leave the top oven off, the temperature in the top oven is around 85 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is good for rising bread. It was about 68 degrees in the house, and the top oven stayed in the mid 80s. Yeah, so I figured that out with my double ovens here. You can see I can set. I guess y'all can see me too. Hi. um, I can set the bottom oven down here, the one way down here, I can set that for about 250 degrees and then leave this one right here, just leave this off. And as the bottom one gets hot to about 250 degrees, this one right here will stay about 80, 85 degrees. In this top oven. So that's perfect for raising bread, letting bread rise on a cold day, isn't it, Norma Jean? Yeah, she wasn't very impressed with the last bread her mother made. No, it wasn't very impressive. Nobody really thought it was great. Naboo said, Naboo said it was okay. Yeah, it was okay. It tasted good. It just wasn't very fluffy. Okay, so that's what I learned on a rainy day was that I have to kind of make a warm environment for that bread to rise properly. And it rained for most of the day. So, no outside work, but I'm ready to get out there. The springtime is on the way, and there needs to be some cleanup done before the real growth begins. I haven't decided if I'm growing any tomatoes or not. I think I may just concentrate on my grapes and flowers. And I never did do sunflowers last year, and I have all the stuff, so I'm probably going to plant those. I can tell the grape bed will need lots of work. It's overgrown and full of armadillo holes, and I still don't know how they're getting up in there after I put that little fence. What do you think, Naboo? How are they getting in? How are the armadillos getting in? He didn't know, but he'd like to find out. Okay. I got a chance to work on Voone's blanket for a while, but it's not going nearly as quickly as I had hoped. I keep getting distracted, and I've been pretty tired in the evenings lately. I tend to go to sleep if I can instead of breaking out a project, but I'll catch up soon. I love working on it once I get it out and get busy. Oh, and I've been listening to The Ichabod by J.K. Rowling while I was crocheting. Yes, I love that story. I haven't completed it yet. I was having a hard time finding it on audiobook, like completely read, but I found where a bunch of people volunteered and read single chapters for like a kids' theater or something, so I've been listening to that. Wednesday the 16th, beautiful blue skies, high in the low 70s, low in the low 40s. Oh my gosh, what a gorgeous day. No wind, bright sun, not too cold, but it's super wet outside. Huge puddles still around. And the ground is muddy and squishy and full of water. I do intend to burn all of our boxes today, which have been stacking up for weeks. Well, it's more like months. Um, it's a perfect day for that because it's so wet that there's no chance of the fire getting away from me with all of this water. So, yeah, anytime there is excessive packaging on anything, the boxes and paper and everything that's not plastic, if it's cardboard or paper, we collect it and use it to start fires. But a lot of the time, especially this time of year, we get a huge collection of boxes and have to make a point to just go out and burn boxes. But that keeps our trash way less. We only put out about 3 or 4 bags a week instead of like five if we didn't separate out all the cardboard and packaging. There's way too much packaging on products, in my opinion. After I got all the boxes burned up, also the recycling is not available here. So whatever we don't put in our trash bins doesn't wind up in the dump. So occasionally I will make the trip and recycle plastic bags. I quit using plastic water bottles and we burn all of our boxes and paper, just trying to keep, that's our way of just trying to keep what we send to the landfill at a minimum. So after I did all the boxes, got those all burnt up, I let the boys play in the yard a little while. I figured they wouldn't go too far with it being so wet, and Vince wouldn't quit hanging around the back porch, and I didn't want him to get into it with Willow, so I put him back in. But the heavyweights, that's Howard and Naboo, had a good time exploring the puddles and the shed. Yeah, they were really good. I was really proud of how they acted outside. And I'm going to take a special trip just for Vince and possibly Marina so they can go out in the front yard and I can watch them out there. And maybe our Norma Jean. Maybe Norma Jean will go outside. She's not too interested in it. While the ground is wet, she's not going to be interested in going. Okay, so I cleaned the glass on all three doors. I leave the big doors open as much as possible, and the back door has a large window, so the cats usually look out of all three doors most of the time. And if you have watched my channel very long, I'm sure you have seen all three of those glass doors, and probably one or more of these guys peeping out of them. Yes. Um, so the cats are always looking out of the doors most of the time, which means there are dozens of little kitty nose prints all along the bottom of the glass. Now that's all the time, even if I clean it every day. Anyway, so I cleaned the inside and the outside of all the glass doors, and while I was at it, I noticed all the moss and algae growing on the back door. When I cleaned it, paint came off with it. So when we fix that area, I want to repaint the door. That mossy stuff grows on anything that sits still, and I need to power wash the porch. I also need to power wash the butane tank because our humidity is so high here that we really anything that sits still grows moss on it. All the trees have it. Any kind of like vehicle or something that's parked for a little while will begin to get covered in that green mossy stuff. So we have to power wash our house and porch, especially the porch because the mossy stuff makes it really slick when it's moist, and it's always moist around here because the humidity is so high. So, yeah, that's just part of living in the swamp. You have to wash that stuff off a couple times a year, and it's time. So Thursday, the 17th, high in the high 70s, low in the mid 40s. It's warmer today and bright. It is a beautiful day. Um, it is another beautiful day, and I decided to stay home and get some things done here and go shopping tomorrow. Yeah, I was planning on going shopping today, but I put it off because it was such a nice day. I didn't want to spend it shopping. Um, I didn't have much to do as far as cleaning, and I'm caught up on all that. So it's just pet care today. And I have some free time. Lately, I've been listening to The Ichabod by J.K. Rowling, and each chapter is read by a different volunteer. I think it's called the Shed Learning Center, the Shed Youth Theater. Anyway, that's the only one I could find that had each chapter done. And each one's read by a different volunteer. And listening to all the different people reading this story made me want to work on reading The Looking Glass. Um, yeah, because everybody's on a different reading level. Some people English wasn't their first language. Some people were students. Some people were older. Some people had different kind of speech patterns and stuff. So it was very interesting. Although I did have difficulty following along on some of them where the words were mispronounced, and I thought they could have done a little bit of the homework before they just started reading it. But not to be too critical, I like to congratulate anybody who will read aloud for children. That is awesome. Even if you're not great at it, it's still awesome that you try. So, anyway, listening to all these people reading made me want to read uh, Through the Looking Glass. I only have 2 chapters up on my channel, and I haven't worked on it in 9 months. So, since I had some time, I did the pre reading work on 2 chapters and I recorded them. And they included The Walrus and the Carpenter poem, which I did the way I've always read it in my head to the little tune in the Disney version cartoon. I'm pretty pleased and we'll upload them tomorrow when I'm in town shopping. I knew that Alice was going to be a challenge because there's little songs and poems and things like that that's going on in Alice in Wonderland that is difficult to convey. There are puns on words and some other kind of wordplay. He often leaves off the sentence to be completed by the next chapter's title, which I find kind of disconcerting when I'm trying to read chapter by chapter. Uh, but yeah, so I broke that out and I read a couple of chapters of the Through the Looking Glass, and I always do really enjoy reading like that, and I was glad I did it. It makes me want to finish that book because I hate leaving things unfinished like that. Uh, it's amazing, this weather. It was snowing less than a week ago, raining day before yesterday, and today it's a beautiful spring day with temperatures close to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, the uh the spring has sprung definitely, and I am ready for all the flowers and things, and to be getting out there and working in the yard and doing some springtime stuff and letting these cats play outside more. They certainly are ready. I saved 2 cups of prepared brown rice from supper last night. I took it out after it was cooked, but before it was seasoned with the rest to go with the stuffed peppers. I'm going to use it today to make an old fashioned rice pudding. I haven't had one in years. I'm still looking at recipes, but I plan to make it this evening for dessert. I'm thinking about bread pudding too for the leftover bread. Yes. So I was thinking what to do with some of this leftover bread, and I thought bread pudding would be good. If you've never had bread pudding, it is a wonderful way to use up stale bread or any extra bread. You can stale bread just by kind of lightly toasting it. So I found a good recipe for bread pudding, and I'm going to try that. And I also, when I was thinking about bread pudding, it made me think about rice pudding, which I have not had in years. I used to make both of these all the time because when you're cooking professionally, this is a fantastic way to use up leftover rice and leftover bread, and make a delicious dessert out of it. So I found a nice recipe for rice pudding the way that I like. This is the baked kind. This is not the stove top. I guess I should put that on there, that this is baked rice pudding. Yeah, because there you can make it on top of the stove, but this is definitely the kind in the oven is what I want, because I want to mix it up and leave it. I do not want to stand at the stove and stir constantly, if I don't have to. I prefer the baked kind if I can get away with it, because I don't like to stand at the oven. I mean, at the stovetop stirring constantly. So then here's another good recipe for the bread pudding, and this has the vanilla sauce that goes with it, and that's a wonderful way to use up extra bread. So that's what I'm planning on doing this weekend, is making some bread pudding, maybe making some more bread, possibly trying to do biscuits, which you can also do in bread pudding. If you have old biscuits, just pretty much anything that's not like seasoned. Like you wouldn't want to use garlic bread or garlic sticks or toast, or like cheesy bread or anything that's flavored. But anything like just plain bread, bagels, you can use wheat bread, crescent rolls, biscuits, just anything like that. Any kind of plain bread works. So, thanks for joining me, you guys. And until next time, y'all be sweet.